The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation promotes, preserves, and perpetuates music, culture, and heritage through programs, cultural, educational, and economic activities year-round. Learn more at jazzandheritage.org.
I'm Peggy Scott Laborde, and welcome to Steppin' Out, with updates from the local restaurant, arts, and entertainment scenes. Joining me, Poppy Tooker, host of Louisiana Eats on WWNO Radio. Hi, Poppy.
Hey, Peg.
Gwen Thompkins is back. Yay! Author and executive producer for Music Inside Out, heard on public radio. Hi, Gwen.
Hello. Thank you.
And speaking of welcome back, Doug MacCash, who covers the arts and culture scenes for NOLA.com, the Times-Picayune, and the New Orleans Advocate. Hello.
Hello.
Also with us, of course, Alan Smason, editor of the Crescent City Jewish News and theatercriticism.com. Howdy, Alan, in your white suit. Love it. Poppy, looks like quite a few dining specials on the North Shore these days.
Well, you know, on the South Shore, we have culinary. We celebrated that last week. But they have the Tammany Taste of Summer happening starting August 1st, so it's on. And different from culinary, couple of things different. Number one, it runs through September 15th. So you've got a long time to take advantage of these great dining deals and more. And I wanted to mention in particular Restaurant Côté and the Maple Room. They have a 3-course dinner for two for $39.99. That's 2 dinners. And the menu items include things like shrimp with a cognac cream reduction, frog's legs bordelaise, a blackened drum with a southern pecan beurre blanc. Oh, yum. So there's 55 participating businesses all together, and we're talking Slidell, Covington, Mandeville, Madisonville, Abita Springs, all up there. And everything's included in possibilities like axe throwing, swamp tours, and great deals at B&Bs too. So you can go and spend the weekend and really make a fun time of it. And what you do is you get the Tammany Taste of Summer Pass, which is free. You check in at 5 participating establishments, and you'll win a coaster set by local artist Christina Papillon. Now, if you just keep checking in and visiting these places, the one person with the most redemptions will win a boat tour on the Tchefuncte or dinner for 4 at participating restaurants. So there's so much fun to be had, a lot more than just dining, and all the way through September 15th.
Wow. Thank you so much, Poppy. And moving over to Gwen's Satchmofest. And happy birthday, Louis Armstrong, huh? August the 4th.
That's right, August the 4th,
yes,
1901.
And thanks to our Tad Jones, who was the late, great music historian from New Orleans, and he figured that one out, the true birthday. Yes, Gwen, go ahead.
He certainly did, and we're forever in his debt, actually. Satchmofest is an annual event that I just absolutely adore, and I hope that, well, not just hope, I know that it's going to be absolutely terrific this year. It's one of those festivals where there is a lecture and presentation series that goes alongside the musician series. And so right now we're going to talk about some of the lectures that are going to be happening. And what's exciting about these lectures and presentations is that essentially what they do is they explain why Louis Armstrong matters, why he matters as a film star, why he matters as a soloist, or as the leader of a big band, or the leader of an ensemble, or simply as a New Orleanian, or an American, or a world citizen. I mean, Louis Armstrong, everyone says the name to represent the best, and yet oftentimes we become quite tongue-tied when we have to explain why. So this is a really good time to go. So on Saturday, this is going to be a wonderful event. It's going to be a presentation on The Real Ambassadors, which was a jazz opera that was written by Dave Brubeck and his wife Iola Brubeck, specifically specifically to feature Louis Armstrong. And The Real Ambassadors was actually recorded in 1961, but it was only performed live once in Monterey at the festival. And what's great about the Real Ambassadors is that at a time when the State Department, when the U.S. State Department was relying on musicians to go around the world and in a soft power campaign promote the values of the United States, these musicians were calling into question, some of the policies that were going on within the United States at the time, and sort of calling leaders onto the carpet to explain and to perhaps pledge to better social situations in the United States. Segregation was rampant, as you know. The vote was not, the Voting Rights Act of 1965 had not yet happened. I mean, this was a very difficult time within the United States socially. So this lecture on Saturday is going to be absolutely terrific. This is going to be Saturday at 2 o'clock, from 2 until 3:45, because after the presentation, and the presentation is going to be done by a fellow by the name of Keith Hatchek, after the presentation, there's going to be a listening party. So you're going to be able to go and not only learn about the Real Ambassadors, but to hear about the Real Ambassadors. Also, we're going to be hearing from Jewel Brown, who was the last girl singer with the Louis Armstrong and his All-Stars band. Jewel Brown replaced Velma Middleton, who was a wonderful comedian and singer, and she was quite young when she did so. And so she's going to be talking with Ricky Riccardi, and that's going to be on Saturday at the Jazz Museum on the 3rd floor from 4 until 5. And Ricky Riccardi, as you probably know, is the curator of the Louis Armstrong Archive up in Queens, New York. He's fantastic. It's going to be a wonderful interview. And then also on Sunday at Satchmofest, it's going to begin with a tribute to one of our own. This is John Swenson, who was a wonderful music writer. He wrote for Rolling Stone magazine, for Crawdaddy magazine as well as Offbeat. And he was a great fan of Louis Armstrong. He even called Armstrong a harbinger of rock and roll. And so Alex Rawls, Allison Fensterstock, David Cunian from the museum, and Jennifer Odell are wonderful music writers, and they're going to be presenting on the legacy of John Swenson. It's going to be terrific. And then on Sunday, also later on Sunday, Dr. Robert Michael is going to be giving a talk about Peter Davis, who was Louis Armstrong's first real teacher. He's the one who put a cornet into Louis Armstrong's hands at the Colored Waif's home when Louis was remanded there as a very young child. But also what you need to remember is that Peter Davis was also the teacher of Dave Bartholomew, who later on became such an impresario for Imperial Records, and of course one of the founders of rock and roll, along with Fats Domino and Cosmo Matassa and the drummer Earl Palmer. So that conversation is going to be happening on Sunday at 3 o'clock at the Jazz Museum. I'll see you there.
Okay, yes, and fqfi.org. You can get your ticket. There's a small fee. I know that people are used to things being all totally free with French Quarter Fest, but they just can't afford to do that anymore. So it's just $7, if you order beforehand or on site at 10. So that is a deal. Thank you so much. And let's hear from Doug.
Yeah, Saturday is going to be White Linen Night. It's back after a 2-year COVID hiatus like everything else. It is the biggest art event of the season and one of the great street parties in a town that knows something about street parties. I want everybody to come. It's free. You just go down to Julia Street, you wander around. All the galleries are free. The museums are free. You can pick up a cocktail at one of the many outdoor bars and just visit and wander. I don't want you to worry about the wardrobe. White is encouraged, but it's not necessary. I once saw somebody wearing a kilt and everything went all right. But I do want you to concentrate on the art because there's some great things to take a look at this time. At the Grider Gallery, there's an exhibit called A Party in the Lafitte. The exhibit is called The Bricks, and here's a picture, one of the drawings by Dapper Bruce Lafitte called A Party in the Lafitte. And there are just dozens of these drawings, and they're fascinating. You have to stand up close and catch all the details. Just a terrific show.
Doug, being the former Lafitte Project, I guess.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Hence the bricks.
Yeah.
Remember Earth at the Contemporary Art Center is a 54-person show about ecology concerns, and I particularly love their poster. This is done by You Go Girl, one of the great graffiti street artists in town. Over at the Ogden, across the street, look for Mitchell Long's paintings of the Costco store. And isn't that wonderful? I mean, it's like an impressionistic painting of the inside of the Costco. It's part of the Louisiana Contemporary Group show at the Ogden. Always a pleasure. And then George Schmidt, who is a wonderful realist and terrific raconteur lover of New Orleans. He is back in New Orleans after leaving for 2 years, and this is his wonderful painting, Writing a Ticket, and it's just everything about it is wonderful. The design, the humor. So White Linen Night, Saturday night. See you there.
All right, yes. And that, as you said, it's free. And they expanded the hours this time from 5 to 10 p.m. in the 300 to 600 block of Julia Street. Thank you so much. And once again, I wanted to tell you how much I really enjoyed your story on George Schmidt, which can be read at NOLA.com. So
my pleasure.
Thank you. And moving on to Alan. Welcome, Alan.
Well, welcome, and congratulations to us at WYES for our awards that we got.
And we're going to talk about that a little bit later.
Okay.
So let's hold it. It's a good surprise.
All right. Let me start off by having to pass on some sad news then. The New Orleans theater and New Orleans opera scene lost a great man. Don Gilliot passed away last week.
The gentleman to the right.
That's correct. Well, I don't think it's the one in the center, but we all know. But anyway, Don and his wife Linda had really been around for so many decades, providing hair and wigs for the opera and also for many theaters, including Summer Lyric, which we're going to talk about in just a little bit. They have also worked with other regional opera companies. So again, Don was 84, and he will be sadly missed.
Wow. And that's Edward Cox in the middle, isn't it?
Well, I don't know how he took that picture because it's supposed to be credited to him, but I didn't want to say it.
It looks like it. Okay, go ahead.
And anyway, it seems hard to believe, Peggy, but believe it or not, Rent is now 26 years old and older than most of the characters represented in the Jonathan Larson Pulitzer Prize and Tony Award winner, who won, again, for Best Musical, Best Score, and Best Book. One of the things that Rent did not win in 1996 was Best Choreography, and maybe that's what Summer Lyric is trying to pay homage to, because Palenko Jones Jr. gladly stepped into the position of director and choreographer. The central stories about Roger Davis and Mimi Marquez, played by Andy Savage and Lizzie Tucker there, respectively. Savage really holds his own opposite Thomas James Knapp as videographer Mark Cohen as well. But Lizzie's one of the most incredible versions of Mimi I have ever seen. Not only does she possess a choreographer's dream body, but she's a little sleek and slim, but she's a force on stage that demands attention. And here is Knapp as Mark, with Jessica Mixon as Joanne doing the Tango Maureen number. Jessica's voice is absolutely stratospheric at times. Another couple that is, of course, Tom Collins, played by Joshua Walker, who's an impressive voice, and of course, trans non-binary actor Zachary A. Myers, who plays Angel. You see there the conscience of the group of squatters living on the fringes of the village in Manhattan. Angel's songs, Today for You and I'll Cover You, are among the best in the work. I shot that after the show. The first act finale is La Vie Bohème. Everybody knows that. And of course, the precursor to the opening Seasons of Love, which everybody knows. The group strikes back at society. Rent is in many ways a harbinger for what was to come in terms of society, with AIDS and commentary talking about societal barriers and trying to find one's sexual identity. The last of those three companies that you just saw right there, the couples, Maureen Johnson plays Maddie Mont and Jessica Mixon as her girlfriend Joanne Jefferson. There's Palenko. That's the guy who's behind it all. Again, this is a musical directed by a choreographer. There's a lot of movement, sometimes a bit too much to be dizzying as far as that goes. But again, I enjoyed it. All in all, the singing superior and staging by Rick Paul is outstanding. And don't forget those costumes by Casey Thomasy, also magnificent. Rent runs now at Dixon Hall all the way through Sunday. And again, some of the pictures from after the show last night I wanted to share. We mentioned, of course, we had Lizzie Tucker, and I had some other people there. I hope that we get a chance to show those one day soon.
Okay.
There they are,
fine.
Lizzie Tucker and her parents.
There they are.
And,
okay.
and we also, of course, we'll have more later on, all right?
Okay, thank you. And now it's time to go back to Poppy.
Something about New Orleans, we can't seem to get enough brunch. And the latest brunch news comes from our friends at Wetland Sake, where they are hosting a brunch every Sunday along with their next door neighbor, the commissary, where the delicious food comes in. Now at Wetland Sake, they have live music every Sunday, noon until 2. This weekend it's Josh Paxton. What you see there is a sake mimosa. It's pretty delicious. They have a sparkling sake there that steps in for the champagne. Now, they also will have pop-ups at Wetland Sake every weekend. This weekend, it's Kimmy Bakes, and yes, that's Kimmy with 2 Ks. She'll be serving her cream puffs. And then next door at the commissary, that's part of the Dickie Brennan restaurant group, and where they also have a full bar in case sake is not your thing, but they also are serving this fabulous brunch. Fried chicken biscuit, salmon toast, a pork debris bowl. How about some bread pudding bits? That sounds yummy. And they have eggs that you can order, burritos, salads, sandwiches. The commissary is open there on Orange Street, right off of Chapatulas, Wednesday through Saturday from 11 a.m. until 9 p.m. But Sundays, they're there from noon till 4. And Wetland Sake opens at 4 p.m. Wednesdays through Thursdays, and Friday and Saturday, noon until 10 p.m. This is a fun, special time. It's a great vibe. Just go. You're going to love it.
Thank you so much, Poppy. And moving back over to Gwen for more Satchmofest.
Absolutely. While all the talking is going on inside, outside there are going to be 2 stages that are going to be featuring musicians. And I have to say that probably one of the great performances will be the first, and that will be the Roots of Music. The Roots of Music is going to perform on Saturday morning at 11:30, and it's going to be right at 400 Esplanade, which is right at the gates of the old U.S. Mint. And when you see this collection of young students get together and boom, and you know what I mean, together in unison, it really reminds you of what music is all about and what the tradition of music has been in New Orleans, where one generation has passed down the knowledge to the next generation and the love of music. So the Roots of Music I would highly recommend, and I have to say I'm going to try to be there 11:30 until noon. And since you're already there, if you're going to be there, why not go see Tim Laughlin? He's a wonderful clarinet player, traditional clarinet player, and he's going to be performing on the Esplanade side of the museum on Saturday at noon, from noon until 1:10. The trumpet player Leroy Jones, also a real stalwart of traditional jazz music. He actually put out an album based on Louis Armstrong's music back in 1996 actually, called Props for Pops, and he's going to be performing on Saturday, August 6th from 4:40 until 5:50 over on the Esplanade side of the Jazz Museum once again. Now, any day is a good day to see the drummer Herlin Riley, and he is going to be also performing on Saturday. Herlin Riley's grandfather played with Louis Armstrong in the Colored Waves home band more than a century ago, and he, of course, traces his career through the Danny Barker Fairview Baptist Christian Church Marching Band, of course, with Wynton Marsalis, Jazz at Lincoln Center, and Ahmad Jamal, and he's also his own band leader, and has put out some wonderfully acclaimed albums in recent years. He'll be at the Jazz Museum on the Esplanade side from 6:20 until 7:50. Now, on Sunday is going to begin with traditional jazz with the wonderful Doreen Ketchens. You can't help but love Doreen Ketchens. She's the great treasure of New Orleans traditional jazz music. She's played everywhere from Royal Street to the White House. She'll be on the Esplanade side at 1:30 on Sunday. If you are in the mood to be on the other side, I believe, of the museum, then go to see the Lawrence Cotton Legendary Experience. Lawrence Cotton is one of one of the great teachers of the older styles. He played, had a long career playing in blues as well as in jazz. He plays at Preservation Hall now, and he will be performing at 150 on the Fidelity Bank stage, Barrack side of the Jazz Museum, Barrack Street side. And then, of course, over the years, there's a band called the Players, Ella and Lewis Tribute Band, and they have included a rotating list of performers, including Wendell Brunius and Mark Bro, and they're going to be performing this year with the special guest Jewel Brown, who was the former girl singer with the Louis Armstrong and his All-Stars band. And that's going to be at the Fidelity Bank stage, Barracks, I'm going to say Barrack side of the Jazz Museum on Sunday, August 7th, and that's going to start at 3:30 and go to 4:40. Enjoy.
Absolutely. Once again, fqfi.org for more information about all of this incredible weekend. Back over to Doug.
Well, while you're downtown at White Linen Night, be sure to make it to Jonathan Ferrara Gallery for a wonderful exhibit by a Louisiana artist named Alexander Stolin. Alexander is 59 years old. He spent the second half of his life in Louisiana. He spent the first half of his life in the Ukraine. And so when you see this show, all of these images, they're dark, eerie, nostalgic paintings. We would expect that these were a reaction to the invasion and war in Ukraine, but in fact they were not. These paintings were largely painted beforehand. They were a premonition. I spoke to Alexander about this, and he said that when you grow up in the Ukraine, your family in recent history has experienced the Nazis and the Soviets. They've experienced the Cold War. They've experienced the uncertainty of the era after the Cold War and all of that. And you come to say to yourself, as he said in his mind, it's not a question of if cataclysmic disruptions will happen. It's only a question of when. And so he was musing on these sorts of things before the war broke out and sort of validated his apprehensions. It's important to him to say he's not trying to paint himself as a victim. He says he is not. He's living a good life, having a wonderful time, but he finds himself speaking on the phone to friends who are literally in bomb shelters.
Wow.
Wonderful stuff, huh?
Absolutely. And once again, White Linen Night, as we said, from 5 to 10. Those extra hours, that's really great. So you can even go there when it's still daylight as well. And it's Fidelity, we should say, is the sponsor. God bless Fidelity for it as well. Thank you, Doug. And moving over to Alan.
Well, I wanted to talk a little bit about an American institution, the National World War II Museum. And I noticed, Doug, in those pictures, that American flag was before 1960. It was a 48-star flag, which is kind of interesting. But we want to get back to BB Stage Door Canteen, because that's where the Stage Door Idol competition is going on. A few weeks ago, we talked about the first two-week winners, Samantha Rohr, and of course, we also had Quetta Cavalier, who won. But now Monique Abry is added to the list of winners going on to the finals. And I wish I had a better shot. I'll have one next time. And then we also had Gabrielle Trace, who won. Whitney Mixon was also selected as the winner of the competition. As you were between those that received judges' votes, they go into the wild card competition, and whoever's name is selected at random gets to compete in the finals. So there you have, we have 5 people who will be competing in the finals on August the 16th at 6 o'clock. There will be some food provided at BB Stage Door Canteen. I would suggest getting your tickets early, because this should be one heck of a competition. There'll be limited food, as I mentioned, but also some great times, as Jimmy Murphy serves as the MC. And this is just always a wonderful event for me. The first time since 2019 we'll actually have a winner now for Stage Door Idol. And don't forget also, people, that the Tennessee Williams Theater Company, they're getting ready to have Summer and Smoke. That'll be starting up at the Marigny Opera House, and I'm going to have a review on next week's show on that as well. So hopefully we'll have some great theater to talk about next week as well.
All right, thank you so much. And now it's time for our picks of the week. Poppy.
Congratulations to the latest cohort from the New Orleans Culinary and Hospitality Institute. The graduates from the baking program and the culinary program, there they are, will be hosting their basil pop-up lunches next week and the following week, the 8th through the 11th, 15th through the 18th, 3 seatings a day. And it's 100% of the proceeds benefits their scholarship fund.
All right, thank you. Gwen.
Ricky Riccardi, one of my favorite people in the entire world, who won a Grammy Award earlier this year for his liner notes on the latest Louis Armstrong compilation by Mosaic Records. He, of course, comes down and he is the star every year of the Satchmofest. And on Sunday, he's going to close out the festival with Ricky Riccardi Video Pops. These are videotapes that he brings down with him to demonstrate the best of all of the all-stars. And he's just absolutely terrific.
Sounds great. Doug.
Check out Gregory Saunders, a Floridian artist at the Ogden. He paints with graphite in an amazingly realistic style.
Wow. Alan.
I haven't had a chance to check with them yet to see if 30 by 90 will allow me to come, but I'm hoping I'll be able to see how they run. This is a very funny piece about a bishop and 4 priests, one of whom is masquerading as an escaped prisoner on the lam. It has 2 more weeks to run in Mandeville, and I'll see you at the theater.
Thank you, Alan. And some exciting news from WYES this week involving a New Orleans food landmark. The station announced that our next national cooking series will feature Dookie Chase's restaurant and members of the Chase family. The Dookie Chase Kitchen, Leah's Legacy, is in production. It's right now, it's going on, and will air on WYES and public TV stations across the country next spring. Here is a sneak preview. The team is led by executive producer Jim Moriarty and producer Terry Landry. This is the 16th national cooking series that they have produced for WYES, including all of Chef Paul Prudhomme's and Kevin Belton's series. Next Wednesday at 6 o'clock, you can go online to view a talk on the history of the crew of Zulu. Historian Dr. Kevin McQueenie will give the talk, and you have to register. It's presented by the Herman Grumma and Gallier Historic Houses. Just go to eventbrite.com for more information to register. It's free. By the way, August is Museum Month. If you are a member of a local museum, you can use your membership to go to 20 other museums locally. Go to their websites for details on that. Looking ahead, Mississippi-born country music star Randy Houser will headline a weekend at the Beau Rivage in Biloxi, August 14th through 15th. He, along with several other musicians, will perform in concert on the 15th. The weekend is a benefit to fight pancreatic cancer. Go to beaurivage.com for tickets and details. And check out Houser's music video called A Note to Self on randyhouser.com. Incredible drone footage there. And congratulations to our first place winner for Best Talk Show. Look at that, Marcia Cavanaugh and Errol Laborde. We're so excited for them. Steppin out won second place, okay? Well, that's okay too, that's fine. And also, we want to acknowledge our Irma Thomas documentary won second place for Best Documentary. And kudos to, of course, Michael Murphy and Celista and Jim Moriarty and so many other fine folks. And congratulations, Alan.
Thank you.
You won a first place and a best of, too.
Best editorial and Ashton Phelps Memorial.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah,
okay, thank you all so much. Good night.
The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation promotes, preserves, and perpetuates music, culture, and heritage through programs, cultural, educational, and economic activities year-round. Learn more at jazzandheritage.org.